We narrow the scope. These are the players to watch, presented by RBC Wealth Management, proud partner of Major League Soccer. What a week one it was for this young man, Jaden Nelson.
This is an incredible group right now. Jaden Nelson, Brian White, and Gall. These are the three players that lead this team. He's going to be impactful.
With Barry there in the starting lineup, you do have Christian Ramirez as well as Marco Royce.
But first, they've got to try to get through Vancouver Whitecaps.
There's the whistle. First half action underway, and the Galaxy sending it from left to right across your screen in the all-dark kits. From head to toe, it's actually a tint of purple in the kits for the reigning MLS Cup champions. And the blue and white Vancouver Whitecaps will defend the goal to our right. Yohei Takaoka, the 28-year-old Japanese keeper, now into his third season in Vancouver, and he has become the mainstay for this club. Probably one of the interesting storylines that we'll look to see unfold, Heath, in the early going is how Vancouver reacts to, let's call it, a very different side. As Nelson is tripped up for a moment. Cerillo trying to win that ball. And this is what Vancouver can do. They can get out quickly in transition. Yoshida knocking that ball all the way back for Mitrovic. I was going to say, though, you know, you figure last week for Vancouver in a game where there's a red card in the opening quarter of an hour, opening 15 minutes, 11th minute to Kamal Miller. You don't really get to see how Vancouver defensively reacts to a really good defense. Then, of course, they play Saprissa in CONCACAF play, a team that played a very different system. So even Greg Vandy admitted, I don't know exactly what to expect from this Vancouver team.
Yeah, he said you could see in some of their build-up play, some of their attacking sequences, they were able to take a look at and measure a little bit, but they haven't really been tested on the defensive end. You go back to that Saprissa game. Saprissa was trying to kill a lot of that game really early on and drag the game out. You also had a Kendall Wasson that was playing up top in that match, so a very unorthodox type of game. This is their first real test of the year that we're going to see how good Vancouver are in terms of transitional moments and key moments where maybe they're left a little exposed.
And you made a slight mention to it in our opening segment that obviously 50-plus goal contributions missing for the Galaxy. Good early foray out in front, Adekube! He had one last year against LA, and he opens the scoring 2 minutes in this afternoon. What a dream start for the Whitecaps. You couldn't have drawn it up much better, partner.
And look at this run through the midfield. No one tracking him. He's able to get his head up. And it's that cutback. It's a redirection from Mitrovic. And there's Adekube right in the right spot. And all he's got to do is tap that one in. Not a lot of work. And just a phenomenal run from Pedro Vite. Left alone.
Turn in the middle center circle there by Elijah Winder. Wide now for Fagundes. Cross headed away by Berhalter. Vite at the edge of the 18 to corral it for Vancouver. Now Laborda will thump it out towards midfield. White on the receiving end on the pass from Ryan Gall. Nelson making the streaky run. Nelson still on his feet. Nelson to make it two, and a big save from Mitrovic, and the Galaxy needed it.
Arriving a little late, and this is a phenomenal ball. And just again, Jaden Nelson, you can keep it to any league in the world, and then you add a paintstone that can give you that verticality and that balance within the team.
Bending ball deflected out off of the right foot of Sanka, and that'll be the first corner of the afternoon for the host Vancouver Whitecaps. Just past the midway point of this opening 45 minutes here in BC Place. The first of two matches on tap to close out match day 2 of the 2025 MLS season. '23-year-old Sebastian Berhalter to deliver the game's first corner. Short ball to the near post. Dealt with pretty easily for Los Angeles. Now off and running is Gabriel Peck. Turned it over for a moment, but able to regain it. Now some width for Fagundes. Top of the 18, going to call his own number, and Takaoka had to make sure that was going wide. Meanwhile,
see what we can do here.
Second corner of this opening half for the Whitecaps. And again, it's Berhalter to deliver. Back post ball this time. Headed just wide. With Laborda trying to climb the ladder there on the back post. Well, it's been a solid 30 minutes since LA conceded early in this first half. How would you gauge the Galaxy and how they've settled in here?
I think they really haven't been a threat on the offensive end. I think if you were to go into this game and wonder where those attacking options are going to come from, I think that question still remains. You obviously have Peck on the field, but when you don't have all of those tools, just means you really have to hone in on Peck and try to close off those gaps. And if you can do that, you can neutralize a lot.
Mitrovic, along with goalkeeper coach Kevin Hartman, working on some of those exact kind of scenarios in the warm-up here earlier today. One-on-one movements where the goalkeeper needs to come down, cut off the space, cut down the angle, and make those quick reaction saves, and Mitrovic did it right there. It was a 3-1 win in April here at BC Place for the Galaxy last season, and then a 4-2 victory down in Southern California in September. So the teams produced goals in both of their affairs in 2024. But right now, a little tighter. Barry, did he get away with a push right there? Takaoka out to get it. Peck with a chance to equalize, and he does! There was some contact inside the area. Takaoka could not clear, and Peck opens his 2025 goal-scoring account to bring this one level at 1.
Yeah, and that's a great little diagonal run from Winder. Releases this one. They just get tangled up. We'll see if there's any contact in there, but look at Peck. Just picks out the corner with 3 players blocking the goal line. And Miguel Berry does great to just keep that play alive. Phenomenal finish. But it all starts with those dynamic movements from the team to free up some space. And that secondary run comes.
It's Diego Fagundes now in his 15th MLS season to deliver the free kick all the way to the far post. Centering ball, and it goes just wide. Garces lined it up with his left foot. It was deflected on the way in. And so the Galaxy will stay at this end for their first corner of the afternoon.
Yeah, this one's an outswinger and underhit a bit, but it gives them that secondary opportunity. Barry just active, and Garces aiming for that left-hand side, but that deflection almost redirects it to the back post.
Garces, in his first full season with LA, still searching for his first MLS goal. Into stoppage time, first corner of the day for the Galaxy, headed away. Garces battling for it, and he'll get away with it. Jaden Nelson trying to use a burst of speed, but Garces chose his own pace and quickly back to win it. Possession a little more even, but Vancouver's had most of the momentum with the exception of the last few minutes. Delivery into the heart of the area. Veselinovic heading over the bar, and there is the halftime whistle.
Moving John Nelson to the right-hand side. Audi will come in on that left-hand side of that left back position.
Underway in half number 2 as the teams have switched ends. Home side Whitecaps in the white socks and white tops. Blue trim attacking from left to right across your screen. And in possession. So both teams have made one change across their back line so far here this afternoon. If you missed it in the first half, Sam Adekugbe had to go out. Idier Ocampo, the Colombian Youth International, stepped on. And now it's Julian Aude who steps in to replace Emiro Garces. Tristan Blackman, been known to have that long throw from the sideline. See if they use it here, in onto the near post. Flicked across toward the back post, but nobody home. Secondary ball picked up by Ocampo, looking for Matias Laborda out in front. No touch there for Blackman, who finds the gloves of Mitrovic. Veselinovic, who almost got a touch.
These are the little moments where the Galaxy have to be really tuned in. Vancouver Whitecaps, I think they can be far more effective, but still struggling with a clear way in which they're going to break down that first line of pressure to get a little higher.
1v1 matchup here for Nelson. Past the first challenge, second ball in. kept alive. Which got his fingertips to it, but couldn't put a firm grasp on the ball until a throw for Vancouver.
And this is what I like about Nelson. No matter what, he's had a couple of turnovers. He just goes at him again and again and again. Obviously, they made the change to bring in Aude on that left-hand side to try to match up with Nelson. Move John Nelson to the other end. That's one part that I like about his game. It's not the most polished yet, but that confidence to just get on the ball and attack with pace.
Spinning turn there from White. Touched away by Zanka. Here is Aude. In the first 2 weeks of the 2025 campaign, Peck goes down, and the Galaxy would pick up their first points of this year.
And we've seen a much better second half from the Galaxy in terms of their organization between the midfield lines and the defensive lines, just making it a lot harder to find Brian White and Gauld in between those spaces. As we take a look here at this replay of Ocampo just tripping up Peck, who recognizes Peck's in behind him. Picks up his yellow card.
If you weren't with us in the first half, in addition to the 2 goals of the afternoon, 1 for each club, the half ended with a ton of physical play, players bumping chest to chest, but it seemed to have settled here in the second half. I don't feel like we've seen as much of that, Heath. Those tempers flaring like we saw, and consequently a few less cards coming from referee Drew Fisher too.
Yeah, there wasn't so much transitional play here in the second half. I think the Galaxy's smart to try to force Vancouver Whitecaps to try to make the game a little bit more.
Agundez putting some air underneath it, looking for Maya Yoshida. Good ball into the back post. He heads it back across. Agundez with the follow-up chance, and he clipped it almost perfectly, but always rising up and over the bar.
You see this Yoshida's timing really good to redirect that to the back post just over the head of Zanka, and then never really threatening from the beginning there. But I do like that he goes laces, not trying to overhit it. But skies that one pretty clear.
Ahmed. Matched up 1v1 to Aude. Now Vite. Back post ball for Ocampo. Headed away by John Nelson. Blackman trying to dump it back in. Will it stay in? It probably could have, but
probably should have.
Ocampo did not find the touch. Yoshida back up and walking off under his own power. Good sign for the Galaxy captain. The match momentum is presented by Old Spice. And if you take a look at the graphic there, folks, you can kind of see the ebb and flow. Look at the stack of blue in the very early part of it, including the goal from then left-sided defender Sam Adekugbe. But then in the middle there, Heath, right, you can see the Galaxy playing themselves back into the match. It's been a lot, though, after halftime for Vancouver here this afternoon.
Well, you can see just how momentum shifts after a goal specifically in this particular game. Just that confidence building up. Energy goes up a little bit.
So end of the afternoon for the Scottish international playmaker Ryan Gauld. Daniel Rios, the 30-year-old on-loan striker from Liga MX side, Chivas. We'll try and see if he can bring a spark here in the closing minutes of the half. Peck from long distance, but right at Takaoka. We saw some late heroics in matches yesterday. DC United with a late one in stoppage time to earn a 2-2 draw. Portland getting a free kick goal in the 89th minute to earn their first win of 2025. Might we see something here this afternoon? What a ball in front! And on cue, it's Brian White that delivers! A perfectly weighted ball, and the 29-year-old
the setup of this moment. And you can see the Galaxy talking who has who, but it's still 3v2. Brian White slips off the shoulder of Zanka, who has to go to the near post with the runner, and he's left alone and just has to redirect that into the goal. Well timed, a phenomenal ball, and Brian White rewards him with an assist and a lovely little goal here in the closing moments of this match. A huge one for Brian White. 2-1.
Yoshida trying to thump it long. Instead, it is the final whistle, and Vancouver, in their home opener, find a way late in the match by one of their leaders.